Retirement planning doesn't have to be complicated, time-consuming, or stressful, but that doesn't mean everyone will take the steps to do it. There's a surprising amount of people who have fallen short in their retirement planning efforts. Procrastinating about this mundane task is easy, but that only allows it to morph into a progressively larger problem over time. A little effort put forth early on can prevent huge headaches in the future. Here are 9 facts about retirement found from the retirement study at Ramsey Solutions. My name is Chris, and I help teach people about money, personal finance, and investing. If you're interested in improving your financial future, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if this video is helpful. Number 1. Only 58% of Americans are saving for retirement. This could be because these people don't have any money to save, or they don't think they need to start saving yet. Retirement planning is something that's done a year or two before you're emotionally and physically ready to retire, right? Everyone should begin planning for their future before it arrives. Most people don't realize that the earlier you begin, the easier it is to reach your goals. It's common to get scared off by huge numbers that financial planners claim you need for retirement. While the figures can definitely be intimidating, when broken down into annual and monthly amounts, they can seem much more reasonable. Hearing that you'll need $1 million or more to retire is frightening, but investing $500 per month for 30 years is more attainable. Finding an extra $500 can be difficult, but it will get easier as you become better at finding ways to save where you can and earning more money. Number 2. 48% of Americans have less than $10,000 saved for retirement. According to the Department of Labor Statistics, the average emergency fund should be around $30,000, and half of the country has just 1/3 of that set aside for retirement. $10,000 can't even buy much of a used car, never mind provide any amount of income for after your working years. Using the 4% withdrawal rule, that means you'll only receive about $33 per month. Even if you're young and have that amount, $10,000 invested for 30 years earning 10% per year only grows to $175,000. That's not even enough to cover medical expenses, never mind all other financial obligations. This is a recipe for disaster, or more accurately, working forever. Number 3. More than half of all baby boomers say most of their retirement income will come from Social Security. Most people only get about $1,340 per month for Social Security, about $16,000 per year. While that's certainly something, it's not nearly enough for many people to live off. Sure, if you have a roommate in your paid-off home, you might be able to scrape by. There won't be any vacations, tithing, or new cars. You might need a job to make ends meet, and hopefully you're physically able to work and you won't encounter an unexpected medical expense. Barely getting by doesn't sound like much fun in your final years that are supposed to be about enjoying life after work. Social Security should be considered a bonus, and if you end up with a significant amount, you could use it to offset your tax liability, but it's not wise to rely solely on it. Number 4. Only 1 in 10 Americans are saving 15% or more of their income for retirement. Most advice out there recommends investing at least 15% of your income for retirement. For older people who are behind in their planning, 15% isn't enough. It's also not enough if you plan on retiring early or plan on having a more luxurious retirement than the lifestyle you're currently living. Those who don't know how important investing is probably think 15% is an extreme amount of money that they couldn't afford to set aside. It's not really that much to put towards your future. With the average length of retirement being 18 years, that's about 23% of your life. Number 5. Only 36% of Americans know how much money they'll need to retire. Trying to reach a comfortable retirement without a plan and goal is as difficult as planning a road trip without a destination. You'll get somewhere, but it might not be somewhere you'll like. The reason so many fail to plan is fear of facing a realistic number. In other words, the amount needed to retire comfortably seems so high that people choose to ignore it entirely. Common excuses are, "I don't need to worry about it until I'm older," or "I can't afford to invest." The truth is, you can't afford not to invest. Mapping out a retirement plan and how it can be executed can make the topic much less intimidating. Number 6. The majority of Americans learn about retirement from word of mouth. Relying on friends and family for advice has its time and place. But do you really want to trust your financial future to casual conversations? Friends and relatives might not know much about the subject themselves. Retirement is a huge part of life, and planning accordingly can make the difference between enjoying those years or spending them at work, barely paying bills. Retirement can be the time when you're rewarded for a lifetime of work. It's critical to do the proper research so you have the knowledge to make informed decisions and execute a plan. Number 7. The average millennial debt is $30,000 and the average income is $55,000. Millennials say their cost of living is their top obstacle to saving more for retirement, not debt. Planning for the future tends to take back seat to living in the moment. It's absolutely necessary to have fun while you're young and able, but not at the cost of neglecting your future. Investing small amounts early on makes it much easier to reach retirement goals. Besides, if you plan well, you might be able to retire at a young age and spend time doing what you enjoy. Otherwise, you could be stuck working and trying to make up lost progress in your 50s and 60s. Investing late in life makes it exponentially more difficult to reach financial freedom. Saving 15% of your income early on isn't that big of a deal. It's possible to do that as well as fun things. Number 8. 60% of Americans lose sleep thinking about retirement. We've all heard the phrase, money isn't everything. That's true, there are more important things. However, money controls the majority of our lives. Where we live, what we do for work, what we do for fun, and even your quality of sleep are all at least partially determined by how much money we have. If this concept is hard to grasp, think of what you'd be doing if you had an infinite amount of money. Chances are that your life would look a little different. Taking control of your money situation will put you at ease. Delaying the inevitable will only postpone and compound the stress. And what about the 40% of people who don't lose sleep thinking about retirement? Is their account fully funded? More likely, they haven't given the situation any thought at all. That's not likely to end well unless they're of the extremely small group that receive a sufficient inheritance. Number 9. Just 40% of Americans have spent time working on their retirement plan. Any big achievement takes time and dedication. Most people spend way more time planning their next vacation and penny pinching on groceries than they do choosing their investments and preparing for retirement. It's common for people to spend weeks researching the best deal on a vacation, yet give little to no thought about where to invest their retirement dollars. Or they spend a full week at work year-round but never set aside a little time to analyze their plan, making sure they're on track. That's a backwards mindset because those investments will eventually grow to large amounts, passively generating more income than you would earn working full-time. Put another way, a $1 million nest egg will grow at an average rate of $100,000 per year. That's about 64% higher than the average individual's income. It doesn't even require that much time. An hour here and there is usually plenty. Don't put off the act of planning for your future. It might seem like a low priority since it could be years or decades off, but the last thing you want is to end up depending on your kids for support when you should be having fun. Besides, having a roadmap will put your mind at ease. The hardest part of executing a plan is the decision to do it. Proper planning can make the difference between enjoying your after-work years with friends and family and having to spend your time at work.